who's been following that, but there is pretty amazing production going on over at Spirit. In a matter of weeks, Wichita went from the air capital of the world to the modern ventilator capital of the world, beating the industry standard of 25 modern ventilators created a week to over 500 made a day. Retooling our workers here who normally build the world's best airplane parts, thanks to the toolage of WSU Tech, to transition over into the ventilator business. And because of that, Wichitans have stepped up and are saving lives. And so I apologize for being late. I'm coming right back from there. We have Senator Moran over there, as well as Pete Meissner from the county. So thank you all for being patient. So first I want to thank everyone who tuned in last night to our cake show, which especially to the medical doctors who came out from both Wesley and Via Christi to give their time and also their expertise on answering tough questions about this pandemic. So for us to move forward, I think it's very, as a community, and to stay ahead of really what I guess the modeling originally showed we could be at. We need to make sure that we give the public good information and accurate information, and who better to hear it from than our local medical community, the people who we trust, not only with ourselves when we are sick, but also with our children and also with our other loved ones, with our parents. So having them here yesterday to answer questions directly, I think is so important. It shows the strength of Wichita in these trying times, where we come together and we utilize our common goal of pushing forward together. So thanks again to the medical professionals. Thanks to you we're supposed to go for about an hour, and we wound up going for about an hour and a half yesterday. So we are very fortunate that we were able to keep that discussion going. Sorry, Megan usually gives me a different paragraph here. So we're going to talk today also about our streets, for our downtown streets. We want to hear from you as we work to shape our streets. The street impact every single one of our residents. It's one of the things I know I get a lot of calls on. I'm sure Vice Mayor Claycomb gets a lot of calls about the streets, regardless of what's going on. I think the potholes are something that is on everyone's mind. But we work to ensure that our streets reflect the needs of our community and evolve to the best service for those changing needs and for our population, particularly downtown. So here to tell us more about a new campaign, a garden of public input on our streets, is Scott Wadle, who is our Director of Planning. So I'm going to turn it over to Scott, who can get into some of these details on what this is going to be for the future.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. I'm very fortunate and honored to be here today with the Mayor, Councilmember Johnson, who I believe is on the phone, Councilmember Claycomb, Jason Gregory from downtown Wichita, and some of the staff working on this project. I'm excited to share that later this month, there will be multiple opportunities for Wichita residents, businesses, and stakeholders to share their thoughts about downtown streets. This is happening as part of the process to develop the Wichita Downtown Streets Conceptual Plan, a plan that will help ensure that Wichita's downtown streets meet both the needs of current and future needs. So far, we've heard from the public that they would like to see changes that contribute to an even more vibrant, healthier, and safer downtown for residents, visitors, and businesses. This effort helps to implement the Project Downtown Plan and provides an opportunity to build on the successes we've seen with St. Francis, Waco, and the upcoming Emporia Avenue project. The public comment opportunities will include the following. 1, an online survey, which launches on September 14th. And 2, a social media town hall, which we're planning for a couple of weeks after the survey launches. And if residents don't have access to the internet, they can stop by the Century 2 Concert Hall lobby during regular business hours, 8 to 5, anytime, to view the concepts and provide written comments. People who provide input will have a chance to review and comment on conceptual designs for corridors and for the overall network in downtown. The concepts have been developed based on feedback collected through more than 20 different meetings and events, ranging from both booths at festivals, to focus groups, open houses, and more. I want to invite and encourage everyone to participate in the survey. The survey launches on September 14th. We're very excited about that. And if you live or work in downtown Wichita, please keep an eye out for postcards with more information about the survey and advertising the survey. So again, I want to encourage everyone to participate in the survey. It opens up on September 14th. And for more information, please visit wichita.gov/downtown streets. And I've got a couple slides just to give you some visuals, some illustrations of what folks can expect. So here's an example of a flyer or a poster that you'll see on the left, and then an example of the postcard front and back on the right there. So these are still mock-ups, they're very much a draft, but these are the general concepts of what they'll look like. And then the online survey, this is a screenshot of a draft that we currently have. So people will have an opportunity again to weigh in on corridor concepts, and then there will also be questions about the overall network as a whole. And Mr. Mayor, with that, that's all I've got. So I'll stand for any questions or?
Of course. We would, please hang around in case we have more technical questions about the streets. So with that, we're going to move into discussion about our Civic Engagement Academy. So speaking of public input, it's time to apply for the next class of the Civic Engagement Academy. The Civic Engagement Academy was launched in 2017 as a way to introduce interested individuals into community involvement and educate them on how our local government operates, empowering them to get involved in their communities. Graduates earn a certificate of civic leadership. The group meets on Wednesdays from September 30th through November 18th from 5:45 to 8:30. This year, we will be hosting it virtually to keep people safe. We are still accepting applications, and you can apply online at wichita.gov/CEA-app or by calling Corey Bukta, there we go. I'm so bad at messing up people's last names, so I apologize. Corey Bukta at 352-4886. So we'd encourage everyone who's interested in learning more about the process to reach out, and if you have time, to attend this year's Civic Engagement Academy and learn more about how you can contribute and help us in the community. With that, I'll open up for questions really about anything. If they're about streets, I'm going to bring this guy up.
So the mask mandate is set to expire on Tuesday. What are your feelings on that?
So the mask mandate, the expiration on a mask mandate isn't so much to have it expire, but more to evaluate the situation and to go over, if there needs to be changes. It keeps it on our radar. Right now, we are seeing improvements with the data, and I haven't checked them today, but last night when I checked, it looked like our testing percentage of all those tested over the last 14 days is right around 8%, which means we finally dropped from that 10%, which put Wichita in what's called a red zone. I have to do a bit more of an analysis, but I think we're actually doing better than other parts of the state right now, which is good. However, we aren't at the level we were before the mask mandate was put in place. For those who recall that conversation, we were, through the modeling and through the advice of our healthcare professionals, we were on a trajectory to shoot those numbers up. And like they said, those numbers actually did shoot up after we passed the original mask mandate, because it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to start to see them kind of level off and then head back down. Just as predicted by our scientists in our community, that's exactly what happened. So moving forward, we want to get this even lower than it currently is. 8 is not the stopping point. And we have to take a lesson from really June, where we had a couple weeks of good news, and I think that things opened up a little too quick. So masks are a number one resource that we can all utilize to stop the spread of this. However, to get to, the other part of the question is, as mayor, I can't wave my pen and make this happen. We will have to go through the council. I never make judgments on how an elected body is going to vote, because we never know what the information we'll get that day. It seems like, as we learned last night, the health community is hoping that we can keep these numbers trending downward by still requiring masks.
And I So schools are set to start on September 8th as well. What are your feelings on that, again, continuing with the mask mandate?
So one of the things that we discussed last night with the panel of medical professionals is the likeliness of a bump in illness with schools starting back up. And there's a few reasons for this. Not only is COVID a very highly contagious virus, and we're worried that COVID could spike, but also the reason why we have flu season the way it is because it correlates when people going back to school. Anytime you have more people in school, you have a larger percentage for transmission of viruses and diseases. So I think we'll got a couple things that we should be somewhat worried about, particularly if we didn't have masks. One is a spike in the flu, because people are getting back together and it'll become flu season. When you wear the mask, it actually helps prevent from the flu virus. It actually helps prevent from more viruses than just COVID. So we're encouraging folks to get their flu shot because we don't want to rush on testing or rush on our medical system because the symptoms for the flu and the symptoms for COVID are almost identical. We are afraid that COVID will bump, but also we're afraid that when people start getting together, but we're also afraid that the flu might also have an uptick, which might hurt our supplies when it comes to COVID. So masks will help prevent both of those.
And then also as far as ICT, the project ICT, what have been some of the comments you all have received on that?
Project ICT, you talk about open air ICT? So there's a couple things that we've received. One, for those who know about the program or taking advantage of it and they enjoy it. I think Leslie's Coffee House was one of the first places to embrace this. And just us being out there, we actually had people walk past and say, oh, we didn't know you were open. But now that you see people sitting out front, they know they're open. That you're going to...
Central Standard Brewery applied for open air ICT, and they will now reopen because of it.
Yeah, one of the things earlier this week, and I don't know if the vice mayor might have actually been on this Zoomer with Visit Wichita, they show us some data about folks when it comes to traveling and getting out and partaking in our community right now in this COVID era. People are more likely to go out if there's a mask mandate. They're more likely to travel to Wichita because of the mask mandate. But also when it comes to interacting with our businesses, they're more likely to utilize our businesses, such as the coffee house or a bar, if they feel safe. And by having open air ICT, where we all know that you could be spread out more, it's tougher or it's not impossible. It's definitely harder to get this disease outside than it is inside. It makes it safer. So we are hoping to get the word out even more about this because I think that the more people know about it, the more people can take advantage of it. And, this is a media briefing, right? So the opportunity, if you're interested in learning more about our open air ICT program, just know that we will send someone out there to help you with the paperwork. It's a permit process, but the permit is free, and we have about a 2-day turnaround on that, so it's quick. We want people to take advantage of this, so please reach out to us if it's something that you might be interested in. You don't have to be a bar, you don't have to be a coffee shop, it could be retail as well.
And then so far, there's only been, from what I believe, 15 shops now, 16 of that one. Why do you think such a low number of bars and restaurants have applied for open air ICT?
I think it's a couple, we're just going off my opinion, right? Which I'm happy to give. I think it's a couple of reasons. I think that one, not everyone is sure about the program and what it entails. And we've had other types of programs where you could go outside, but the process was longer to get that permit. So I think it's about communicating what this is and how fast the turnaround is. And also, for some businesses, there's somewhat of an investment, right? If you want to go outside, you might have to get more tables or the type of tables you can move easily. And then I think people are looking towards that, and also Sparks money. Sparks money, which we talked about last couple of weeks, is money from the CARES Act that both at the county level, they have included open air ICT, and at the federal level, the state level, you could actually be a business who applies for some of this money to retool your business model during open air. Something just got loud. Are we cool out there? Okay, it's a group of people. All right. Anyways, every time I see Megan run for the door, it makes me worry because she would definitely leave me behind. No, I'm kidding. Other questions? I'll call on you guys like I do my students. Nothing?
And then basically one last one, any
Yes, ma'am.
suggestions that you have or concerns about now the holiday weekend, we know after July 4th, it kind of like spiked back up.
Right.
Your thoughts on that?
So a couple of thoughts on that. In the medical panel we had yesterday, and that whole show in its entirety is free online if you go to our city Facebook page or to Cake News Facebook page. One of the trends that the medical community has pointed out is that every time we have a traditional holiday, culturally we get together with our families, we let our guard down, and we see a bump. You can almost set your clock to it, where 2 weeks later, you're gonna see a bump. One of the sadder ones is Mother's Day. We actually, this is coming right out of the big shutdown before we had mass, and we saw people, very low numbers in the hospitals, and then people let their guard down, they went and visited mom and for Mother's Day, right? And what happened was mom wound up in a hospital and contracted COVID, and then we saw a bump 2 weeks from then. And just, you're right, we saw that from 4th of July. One of the things that keeps me hopeful about this holiday weekend is we've had masks now for almost 2 months, or for more, not 2 months, but for quite a while, where people get it now. They know what masks are, they should know safe distancing. I think the public has a better understanding of how we can prevent the spread of this disease. So I am hopeful with that, but if you look back on our models, it's almost every time we have a traditional gathering of folks, we see a bump in the numbers. Worries me, of course, as mayor. We want to hold that line and not have more deaths, and we want our numbers to continue to go down as they have been. We want to do this the best, right? Like, out of all of our peer cities, we want to handle COVID better than any of them, and that's what we're going to need help from the community to do that. You can ask another one if you want, because none of these guys are going to know. Hey, thank you guys for coming. Reach out to me if there's anything I could do, or reach out to our planning department if you have any questions on the surveys about our streets. If not, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for being here.